So thank you for for joining us in this project. We will briefly introduce the project. Some of you already have been in the other working group sessions, so you are quite familiar with this project. Also, when you speak with your local project promoters, you can have more information about the project. So this will be just a quick overview about this project, and especially about this capacity building program that we are launching today, especially for the project promoters that apply it for our call. So we really hope that you enjoy the sessions and all the activities under this project. I will be I'm Mariana Palpeiro from Blue Bio Alliance, and Eric Malta is from Citaqua, one of our project promoters, and we will guide you through this session today. So I will pass the word to Eric just to introduce you to the project and to the main goals of this work package that we are working on. So Eric, please, if you can go.
Yes, okay. I hope everybody can hear me right. So yeah, welcome again to most of you. This project is called the I3-4-Blue growth. It's in the I3 instrument. Subtitles Green Innovation for Blue Growth, and we want to stimulate blue economy innovation ecosystem players to stimulate to share knowledge, to build capacity, and especially capacity in what is defined as lesser developed regions in Europe. And we're focusing on two subsectors of blue economy: aquaculture and fisheries, and renewable marine energy. Yes, a second. So the funding instrument is called the I3 instrument. It's a regional program instrument, and it tends to increase the capacity of regional innovation ecosystems in these less developed regions in Europe to collaborate in value chains. So it's a rather scaled up setup. So we start with learning process, connecting, but the I3 instrument especially focuses on demonstration systems, commercialization, and upscaling of commercial activities. So it's really financing mature innovations to bridge this innovation divide, find investors through interregional collaboration. So next one, please. Okay, so the primary objective of the project is to enhance capacities of less developed coastal regions and insular regions to build and reinforce innovative ecosystems for the development of the sustainable smart blue economy. I said we focus on two value chains. One is sustainable fisheries, aquaculture, and valorisation of blue resources, which also includes blue biotechnology. So it's a very large, both value chains are quite large. So it's encompassing a lot of companies. So it's sustainable fishing, aquaculture, use of available resources, production methods, multi-trophic aquaculture, but also processing technologies. The focus is finding sustainable technologies, okay? Valorization, blue resources, and biotechnology, also sustainable biotechnology. And then the second value chain is the renewable marine energy and maritime decarbonization. So that's everything involved with renewable energy, offshore wind, nearshore wind, tidal energy, wave energy, with the expectation to reduce cost, to improve efficiency, reduction of the environmental footprint, development of more sustainable technologies there, and more sustainable infrastructures. And then there's a part on maritime decarbonization, thinking about green shipping, smart shipping, eco-friendly shipping, again, develop and invest sustainable technologies. Okay, next one, please. The consortium, so we are 10 partner regions. If I'm correct, there is 4 lesser developed regions, which is Portugal, large part of Portugal and islands, Andalusia, Croatia, and Poland. The other one are medium or higher developed regions, in 8 countries and all the 4 large sea basins. And these are all the partners over Europe. So next one. The work plan, there's 6 work packages in total. One is communication and management. The work package 2, I think, is almost entirely completed, which is about sustain ecosystem mapping, the benchmarking. We had several sessions on that already. Now we're mainly in work package 3, which is the capacity building program, and of course the calls for project promoters in lesser developed regions, and the second call, which is still open for solution providers in all of Europe. Then there is the work package 4, which is, I think, still starting, is the innovative financial experiments. Work package 5 is also related a lot to the work package 3 because that includes the ecosystem visits. We will have the first one this year to Finland. And then 6 is the I3 hub advisory promotion, dissemination and communication. So I think this is very, very briefly and very rapidly an overview of this of the I3 project. So going back to you, Marianne.
Thank you, Eric. In going into this work package 3, we have this capacity building program that pretends to give to the project promoters that apply it some relevant topics in terms of business, management, stakeholders management, also as access to networks, and also tech advisory for your challenge in your project. So this program will have 4 sessions. You already have the links that I sent you by email. Project partners were selected. 30 project partners were selected under the call. The call was open in June, so you all apply. And the overview of the participants is that we have 30 projects from less developed regions of these 4 countries, Poland, Portugal, Spain, and Croatia. And in terms of value change, the projects are equally divided. We have 15 working on value chain 1 and 15 working on value chain 2. So from Portugal, we have 15 projects. Thank you for everyone that applied. From Croatia, we have 5 projects divided in 2 value chains. Also for 5 projects for the other countries, Spain and Poland. So we will be 30 projects here under this program that in a short time will meet tech providers. That will happen in November with the matchmaking sessions, and I will update you as soon as possible with the agenda for the November day. So you all already have the days in November, so please save the date, because we will meet the tech providers that are now applying under the call that is still open. It will close on October 7. So you will meet these tech providers that somehow can give you the support for your challenge to evolve in your project. So with no further ado, let's start this session. The agenda for today is divided in 2 parts. We have 2 specific speakers for these 2 topics, and then in the middle we will have a break to grab a coffee and to stretch, and then we will come back around, I would say, 1 p.m. set time. So for introducing our speakers, I'm very happy to have here today Alfonso Sanchez. Alfonso comes from Entity Data, a big company, a global company that works with IT and data management, and he will start this session. And then in the second part, we will have Diana Almeida. Diana Almeida is from Blue Bay Alliance. She's a very experienced person in aquaculture and sustainable aquaculture, so she will conduct the second part of this session. We really hope that you take the best of this session. I would say that you can ask and interrupt the speakers whenever you want, just to make the session more interactive. So please feel free, or write in the chat if you want to address some question to the speakers. So if there is no question, questions, we can move to Alfonso, right? So Alfonso, he will introduce us to the product traceability in fisheries, technological solutions, and challenges. So Alfonso, thank you so much for taking your time to share your experience with us.
Okay, thank you.
And if you can start sharing your screen. I will
Okay.
interrupt my and thank you.
All right, let me know when it's visible, please.
Yes, not in presentation mode. Now it is on a presentation
Okay.
mode. Thank you.
All right, so thank you, Mariana, for that introduction. I would also like to say that I come from Andalusia as well. So good to see that Andalusia is involved in this type of projects. Now, so who are we? We are Entity Data, a global technological provider that we are focused mainly in these 5 pillars in sustainability, climate and nature, corporate sustainability, sustainable value chain, and IT. Now, in this context, regarding traceability of fisheries, we detected that there are more than a couple of important remarks, challenges that need to be solved. For example, the first one, the complete traceability of a product depends on many different participants in the supply chain, as we all know. Then the IT systems of these participants are heterogeneous. And this means that the data models might not be able to be compatible, and we need to solve that. This also means, given this heterogeneity and these different participants, the access to get a complete life cycle of a product, it's way harder than it needs to be. And then the complexity to integrate certificates and sustainability information, meaning, let's say you have a certification of origin of some sort of mussel or fishing or anything. And then when we're talking about auditings and auditors, it's complex to get all the information. So we need to find a solution for that. As Entity Data and our different clients, we found out that one of the best ways to solve this is using a blockchain traceability platform. What is you may have heard of blockchain for mainly other things, but for traceability is quite interesting. Why is that? Because the blockchain is a repository of information that can be shared with other partners on the same network, and it allows for a complete traceability and immutability of that information, meaning that the information one partner provides and puts into the blockchain will not be able to be modified unless there is a special procedure that will inform everyone that this has been modified and why it has been modified. Not only is this good for a shared truth repository, but we also developed as a solution a flexible data model that can accommodate to any life cycle of any product. And we have also the advantage that using this blockchain traceability, we can also include in the same lot number all the sustainability and certification documentation associated with the product. So that means that in the end, if the client would like to show this information to the final client, to the purchaser, the one in the grocery store, they can do it. Now, this tool has several interesting characteristics, but the main one is that the business logic is adaptable to any sector, and it's summarized in different critical tracking events that can be personalized per partner. For example, let's say that you have just a couple of producers, then they go to the same transformation company, and then they go to the same canning or shipping company. Then all of that is highly personal, and we can change it on a whim. Then we have physical support capabilities. We can put a QR code on the labels that will redirect to that lot number. And anyone scanning in the supermarket, for example, could see all the information that we want them to see regarding the sustainability and traceability of a product, where that tuna came from, whether it's of sustainable origin or not, if it's up to the standards of the European Union, all of that. Then, how does the blockchain work? So each partner would be able to input their information through a mobile app or a web page, or even connection through the ERP systems that they may have. And that information is verified by the smart contracts. Now, what's a smart contract? A smart contract is not only, it's just a business rule. For example, something quite logical, right? Let's say that we get from one producer, from one fishing company, a ton of tuna. Then from the transformation company, we get from that same lot 1.5 tons of tuna. Something isn't correct there because there hasn't been any addition of anything. So the system would be able to verify and see whether that information is correct or not, and send an alert to check what's happening there. Once that is stored in the blockchain, it's not going to be able to be modified, meaning that it's completely trustworthy. And then all this data that has been uploaded can be stored and shown through a graphical user interface, through a web page or an app or any kind of screen. Now, some of the value added that we have been seeing that participants in our projects have been very happy about is that we have complete interoperability, meaning that all participants are able to participate in the information sharing process because it's quite standardized and it's quite simple. Then they can get all the documents at the same time, meaning that when an auditor comes to audit the company, they will be able to produce all the documentation necessary for them to have it. Also, the confidentiality. Yes, it is a shared repository of truth. Everyone will have all the information, but not everyone will be able to see all the information because each participant will have access to a different kind of information. For example, perhaps we don't want the shipping company to know who are the producers or who's going to be the transformation industry or what's happening on this transformation industry. Now, two of the key added values are use of the physical devices. We can use QR codes, and that's quite an advantage because that means that the information can be more accessible to the final customer and for everyone else in the life cycle of a product, because we can put it everywhere and it will be unique to that lot number. So we will be able to see all the information regarding that traceability. And also all the documentation and certificates we can associate to each lot number. Now we have a couple of case studies. This is Theros, which is a digital product passport pioneering in Europe. We are participating as the technical lead. And for example, in Spain, we are participating with the Mejillón de Galicia DOP, which means that we are pioneering in all this traceability of products in aquaculture and also in agriculture. And then we have Tecopesca, which is one of the main transformers or exporters of tuna in Latin America. And most of these products go to the USA and Europe. With Tecopesca, we not only wanted to generate this traceability, but we also got the automatic integration and sharing of this data from the ERP systems and the integration of the sustainability protocols for tuna and for fishing sector. This is all we can do for now. This is all we can offer, and this is all we have been seeing that it's important. And some of the challenges that are happening is that some participants are not willing to facilitate their data, which is something that we will think about in the next exercise. So that's it from this part. I don't know if there are any questions. I don't see. Mariana, can you tell me if there's anything?
Yes, thank you, Alfonso. We don't have questions in the chat. Maybe some of you that are working on these aquaculture products may want to ask something to Alfonso. If not,
I can.
Yes, yes, of course.
I can comment. Hi, Alphonse. Thank you for
Hello,
your
Anna.
talk. My name is Anna. I work in Scientia. It's a startup company. We are producing Corvina now. We have just a pilot system. Now we had this huge funding, so we are starting to build a commercial facility to produce Corvina. So we have actually a very similar project that we participate, that is T2C. It's about traceability in fisheries and aquaculture, and maybe I'm speaking too early, but I just wanted to comment that one of our problems is the engagement of stakeholders to apply this type of technology. So I don't know if you are going to talk about this. No, I think you are, because you made this comment.
Well, yes, we have that same problem as well. But our solution was just simplifying it for the people that have less technical skills. So, for example, all of our traceability can be accessed through a phone, through a simple web page in a phone. Everyone has a phone nowadays, hopefully. So everyone can see it, everyone can participate through their phones, or a simple web page on Firefox, or the web navigator on their phone. I don't know if that satisfies your answer, or...
Yeah, it does. It does. Actually, imagine we want to transport our fish from our farm to a restaurant, for example. And then we want the people in the restaurant to have all the information from edge to its plate, okay? So imagine the transport system has to have some kind of temperature measurement or something. Yes. So I don't want that the information to be put in the system by, imagine, the driver. I want the information to be uploaded, you know, but yes. For this, we have to have the compliance of the transport company. Yes. And this is where the things get tricky for us. Yeah.
Yes, we've had instead of the European project for the DPP, we've had that same problem with the Czech Republic transport companies.
Yeah.
One of the solutions was just using temperature controlled boxes that had IoT sensors that could be connected to our system. I don't know if that's something you can manage to do. Maybe we can further this discussion, and maybe we can share some insight, or we can provide some help to you as well, Anna. I mean, you may have my contact from this presentation, so just shoot me an email.
Of course. Yes, of course. I just wanted to put it out there,
thank you.
The problem. Yeah.
So any other questions?
If I may add something, I think this is a common challenge to all the companies that want to show to the market the high quality of the product, and sometimes in the value chain, the stakeholders that are in different stages of this value chain or not, or don't want to collaborate, or have no chance to collaborate, or no technology to collaborate. So this is a challenging approach for the value chain, especially for aquaculture projects, because there are different phases from the fish to the market. So thank you, Anna, for your question. I don't know if there is more questions for Alfonso.
If
If
there are
not,
no more questions, we can proceed to the thought exercise I want to ask you.
yes,
Okay.
I think we can move to the exercise and the activity, and then if other questions come, we just address it to you, Alphonse. Thank you.
Okay. Now, I want you all to think about your product value chain. These are these 6 are most of the standard events that we have in our systems that we have been managing. So would you be able to create the chain for one of the products you have, let's say from production to transformation and then to the final client? Just try to create that value chain and identify the bottlenecks that you may encounter. For example, what Anna has mentioned, the temperature, the shipping company doesn't want to track the temperature. The shipping company doesn't want to give us their GPS coordinates on real time. Those can be the challenges that we need to solve together. So please, Mariana, so if you want to divide them into different participation classes or anything?
No, I think we can keep this session in this big room, so the interaction could be more fruitful. And just a question, it's my question, Alfonso. In the production here, when you show the production topic, you are including also offshore, the fishing and the vessels management and ports management. It's everything included here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification, Mariana. I forgot completely about that.
It was one of my questions. So the challenge is for you to think these different stages of your own value chain, of the value chain, where are you working on, and think how you can introduce this data to collect information to the end, right? So I don't know if you want to take like 5 minutes. I don't know if you are with your team members close to you, if you want to discuss, or if someone needs a breakout room just to discuss with a team member, we can create a breakout room for you. But I think we can keep this open, and the questions will come, and we will try to answer it. We will give maybe 10 minutes for you to think about this. And then you can also draw your value chain in a paper and present us to us to see how is your value chain organized. So.
And don't worry, I'm not going to be putting grades in the work that you do. It's going to be a collaborative effort. And just as Anna said, congratulations, Anna, you're going to be the star of the presentation. Just as Anna said, please, we're going to discuss those bottlenecks. Let's say that from the packaging to another shipping, the packaging company doesn't want to give us the information. So that's our bottleneck. How can we solve that? That's what we are going to be discussing. This is just a short exercise for people to realize how hard really is to create a full traceability of any product, not only aquaculture in this case.
When we draw, we got conscious about topics that sometimes we are not seeing. So if you can draw your value chain, maybe you will find some bottlenecks that you were not thinking about. So
maybe the storage company doesn't track the temperature of the storing of the freezing chambers. That's weird to happen, but maybe it is.
And Alfonso, if I may, we can have here two shipping challenges. One from the production to transformation, another one from transformation to after the transformation and processing to the storage, right? So this
Exactly.
can be in
Most of the time is in the very own transformation, because transforming companies are not willing to be fully transparent regarding the practices and what's happening inside, or they don't have the capabilities for that.
Sí, sí. Me preguntó Eric, me preguntó Patricia en el enlace que tenía en el link para lo de Finlandia. Tenía una duda si marcar 2 noches o 3 noches. Todos los días. Yo le dije que por si acaso marcara 3. Sí, porque sí. No. Pero mi pregunta es las empresas que vengan desde aquí
I would say 4 more minutes, and we can share our results. But Alfonso, are you there? In the meantime, I have a question.
Yes.
Because in business and management field, we used to say that time is money. It's also good to think that these kind of technologies could save us money to make the products available sooner than using other kind of non-digital technologies. For example,
Yes.
how it's a question how this can contribute for reduce the time of to drive the entire value chain.
Okay, so first, most of the processes could be automated if they are in the same repository, if they are stored in the same database, for example, that saves cost and time. Then also we can connect to the management systems of all the companies and partners that want to do that, which is also quite quick for getting the information. And while using paperwork is still compulsory for some of the steps, all the digitalized paperwork can be also stored. So meaning that if we need to get quickly all the information, all the data, all the certifications and documentation required for anything, it can be just done with a click of a button or a few clicks of a button instead of just going through the office looking for all the papers and all the receipts and everything. It can all be safely stored in the same database or the same repository. And that saves a lot of time for everyone.
So I think we can move to and share the results. We have a lot of projects here working with fish and seaweed in aquaculture. So who wants to share some insights about these challenges or the way you are doing that also can give us some other inputs on how to deal with this challenge. Please share both your experience or your challenges, actual challenge in your work. So wants to start? I'm seeing a lot of faces here that are working in aquaculture. So
if no one asks, if no one answers, I will not be afraid to ask directly. So please be volunteers.
maybe, I don't know, John Cotter, Enrique.
Hello.
If
So,
you want,
if I may, well,
I
on
know.
my, sorry,
Yes,
Mariana.
you can. Yes, you can go.
Well, on my side, it's still a bit on the planning because we are not in fact commercializing for now fish. So we are on the planning stage, so a bit early, but this is a good exercise. We can think about it, because our plans are to simply grow seafood locally and supply locally. So maybe a bit different, and so it will be like a short chain. So we can perfectly control production, which will be on our side. Then there's the harvesting, the slaughter, and then there will be packaging, which is packaging with polystyrene box, not individual packaging for the products, because we will not have the transformation stage, so the processing. This will be for the final retailer on their side. So we may have a short storage, as the seafood should be then shipped directly for consumption, as we're talking about school canteens in our case, or food retailers. So there's a short shipping locally, and at this stage it can be done by us or from a third-party transporter company. So at this stage our intervention stops. Okay, so then we will have to so regarding tracing, we will have to try to follow up on the retailer side. So it will have probably a transformation site, a processing unit. Then they will probably have a new packaging of the final products, and then again shipping to the food store, to the food retailer store. This is one of the branches. Another branch that we will probably ship directly to the school canteens in our region for processing by the company that deals with it locally at each school individually. So then this to try to solve this, we have not planned the traceability out of our internal scope. So this is something that we will have to think about it and plan. Thank you, Alfonso.
Thank you for your answer. Quite interesting as well.
If I can, following what João said, Alfonso, when you have a small company or a startup, how impactful could these solutions, financially speaking, how impactful could be these solutions to implement in an early stage company, or a small one, or a local one, or maybe a startup in a pilot
in
stage?
smaller companies, the difference can be huge because it's a value added for the final client, because the final client and all the other value chain participants will see that you are about the sustainability and the traceability, the correct traceability of the product. I know it's hard, especially when you're just starting and all the suppliers don't take you seriously, but it's worth the first inconveniences, because in the end you will have a robust and trustworthy value chain, given that the participants will be with you from the very beginning.
So you should start with the traceability for in the beginning, right?
Yes, or at least think about it and start planning for it.
Yeah, in our case, it's local, so it's local, but it should be replicated locally in several places. So the concept is in fact scalable, but like being replicated and for several units.
Okay.
I have a
Okay.
question, if I may.
Yes, sure.
My
Gonçalo.
product will be very similar with João in terms of production. We are going to start really small and then scale it up, but we are more focused in the production part. So this traceability will not be will be more valuable to the middleman or retailer than us, on the primary sector, because for what I can see, I don't see the price of fish raising, just because I have data available in terms of production. I think the cost to implement a system like this will be huge when it comes to smaller farms. So my question is, will this be valuable enough for us to think about it in such early stage, or it be more profitable to a retailer that sells for a lot of countries outside of Portugal? Thank you, Alfonso.
Thank you, Gonçalo. I think that you are right on the money. This is a huge problematic, especially for smaller and starting companies. We have been working with some of them for the European project, and these are the challenges that they are encountering. One of the solutions is they are trying to get consortiums of different smaller, and they are trying to get partnerships, and they're trying to implement it through collaboration of different small companies that want to provide this kind of service. Maybe that's a possibility for you, maybe not, but it's something worth thinking. And maybe perhaps for you, once you have evolved a bit, maybe it's better for you to start thinking about sustainability and that traceability. Or maybe one of the big companies or the big retailers will start asking about this technology, and they will ask you to join their chain or something like that. Those are some of the possibilities, and some of the possibilities that I've seen working with this.
Following the Gonçalo's question, Alfonso, if I may, I would like to know your opinion. How far are we from the customers' awareness for this kind of technologies that can give them information about where it comes from, how it's produced, how far or close from your experience from other countries that you are working with are we from this customer awareness about
so
this adds value to the final product?
It's a bit controversial because they want to know it, but they don't know how. For the start of this European project, some of the colleagues were asking the end customer and all the middlemen, they were asking about whether they want to have this full traceability, or they would be interested on knowing the first location of the product, where it's gone, everything about it. Most of them were quite interested in that. However, they did not know how to access that information. They would be very interested in knowing, but they don't know how to see it.
Do you think policymakers can have an important role here? Also,
definitely.
Right.
That's why FEDOS, this European project, is pioneering on also the development of a digital product passport that may or may not be used in the end by the whole European Union. But it's something that it's been in talks, that this DPP will be developed for several industries and will be slowly rolled out for other industries in the European Union.
Yes, it's just a little comment here. In this project, we will have roundtables in 2025, and we are now collecting all these questions also to address to these policymakers and regulators that can somehow unlock some potentialities of your region. So this is very good to highlight here. Please let us know your hurdles, your challenge in your specific regions, because by 2025 we will have roundtables, especially to present and to ask them how they can support the challenge in the region. So just a little comment. Eric, sorry.
Maybe I can put you in contact with our project manager of this European project, because we are also looking for synergies. Maybe that would be an interesting topic to cover.
Yeah, thank you, Alphonse. Thank you. It will be for sure a good contact. Eric, you were with your hand raised, so it's time to move, right?
As well, yeah, I think because you have another exercise prepared, right, Alphonse?
Yes.
Yes, just a short. So what I understand, there's a lot of room for innovative solutions in this part of the chain as well. There's a potentially big market there, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Mariana. I will send you the PDF presentation as soon as possible.
Yes, thank you so much. I will make it available for participants. And thank you, Alfonso, for sharing your experience. It was a very good session for us to kick off this capacity building program. So thank you so much.
We have 3 more. Sorry, we have 3 more minutes. So if there's someone else has a question in this part, we can still.
Yes, if some of you want to ask something, or Alfonso, wrap up, give your final comments in this topic.
For wrapping up, I know this may seem like a monster. This traceability aspect is like a huge monster that is kind of hard to defeat. But given that policymakers are trying to work on this, it's kind of in the near future for all of us to start implementing this. So you have my contact in my presentation. Any other questions, please shoot them to me, right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
So I would say that we can move for a coffee to stretch a little bit, and then we come in 10 minutes. We come back, okay? Diana will introduce herself, and she will give us some input on the topic about sustainability in aquaculture and some guidelines for you to think about this very broad concept when you are planning your business and you're planning your project. So, Diana, the floor is yours. And thank you for joining us in this session.
Thank you for inviting.
You can share your screen. I will interrupt mine. So.
Okay, is it on presentation mode?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, you're in, it's a presenter's mode.
Oh, right. And I think I know why. Just give me a minute.
This will be a very interactive session.
Yes.
So
I hope so.
I will share things in the chat just for you to be aware of this. So Diana, thank you.
Thank you, Mariana, for the invitation and for the help that you'll be giving me. Okay, so hi, I'm Diana, and we're here to talk about scale sustainable aquaculture production. And to give you an overview of how this session will work as soon as my computer changes the, oh no, I think it's slow. Hello? Okay. So you should be seeing the slide, what to expect in this presentation? Yes, great. Okay,
yes,
so I'm going to start with the briefest introduction of me, Diana Almeida, and of the Blue Bio Alliance, for those of you who might not have heard about it yet. And then we're going to start with a warm-up question, because I'm hoping that we can make this an interactive session, because sustainability is a very broad term. I think most of us are familiar with it. So what we are going to do is that there will be two main goals to reply to this question: what do we mean by sustainable aquaculture production, and if it's possible? And to do this, first we'll start with defining what is sustainability, and then we will be focusing on two documents. So they will be our baseline for the discussion. So what I will do is that I will present these documents in a very short way, and then there will be an exercise that will act like an icebreaker, I hope. So you will do this exercise. They are very simple, and then we'll discuss them a bit before jumping up to the next one. So, about myself, I'm Diana Almeida. I'm project manager at Blue Bio Alliance, and Blue Bio Alliance is the Portuguese network for marine bioresources and biotech. A bit of my background, and you have my LinkedIn QR code if you want to connect with me. I started my journey as a biochemistry graduate in Lisbon, in Nova School of Science and Technology. I then moved to Porto to do the Masters in Marine Sciences at ICVAS, School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, which was also the institution that gave me my PhD, although the PhD itself was done on two entities. So CIMAR, a research center at Porto, Matosinhos, and C8, which is an aquaculture group that produces solids negalenses in recirculating aquaculture systems. And it was on this same group that I then started, when I finished my PhD, I started as a project manager in the research and development department. And now, finally, I'm at Blue Bio Alliance as a project manager. And Blue Bio Alliance its formation was based on the Blue Growth Strategy by the European Commission, enabled to share knowledge and ideas and boost the value chain. So the mission is self-explanatory. So the platform to organize the agents involved in the exploitation of marine bioresources in the entire value chain. And I'm going to pass through these slides very briefly. You can check them later when the presentation is available and see them with more detail. So what we mean by the value chain is that we want to enable biodiversity, bioresource, raw material, also the part of product development, production pilots, manufacture, and the marketing of these products. And this means that we have more than 200 associates, which are players in this value chain. And they include raw material producers, R&D units, biotech, small and medium enterprises, transforming centers and manufacturers, public center entities, support companies, final consumer product developers, and of course, our end users. So it's a very rich network. Oh, I'm going to jump this slide. You can check it later if you want to. But the main goal to focus on is our operations. So we are a network to organize and promote collaborations, and we are also part of networks, other networks, which I will present afterwards. And we also act in the innovation and entrepreneurship stage. So capacity building and raising support for our associates, investing and funding, of course, sharing what opportunities are available to them. And of course, we are an ONG, so we also want to do the communication and awareness, both of our associates, but also of all the projects that we are a part of. Now, the networks that I invite you to check later on and maybe be a part of if you're not already, it's a Blue Demo network. So this is a Portuguese network that aims to bring together in a single easy access point a series of infrastructures and services in Portugal for the rest of the world. And these products are, of course, suitable for blue biotech-based startups and small, medium enterprises. So even if you're not in Portugal, you can use this tool to find the service that you need or the infrastructure that you need. And then we have Blue Biomatch, which is the Blue Bioeconomy Hub. So it's like a corner of the internet, a digital platform to accelerate innovation and entrepreneurship in the blue bioeconomy. So a space that enables us to work together, all of us actors in the sector. That's it for introductions, okay? So we are going to jump in for those two questions that I put at the beginning. So what do we mean by sustainable aquaculture production, and is it possible? And we will start by the definition and general world picture. The world picture we'll see further on, but the definition of sustainability, which is always a good practice, I think, in presentations to set the baseline for the concepts that we are talking about. And in this case, is the UN nation definition, meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So when we speak about sustainability in this presentation, this will be the definition. And we will have the first activity in the next slides. So what I want you to do, you have your business models of your projects, I hope, in your heads. You have your experience. Most of you are experienced in the sector as well. You have been actors in this sector for a long time, or even if not, you have experience. So I want you to, all these activities, I want you to keep that in mind and answer them. There are no wrong questions, okay? I just want to strike a conversation because I think if we want to, this can be a hot topic. So we'll start with the easiest one. Do you think that scaling aquaculture production is compatible with this sustainability definition? So Mariana will be sharing the link to the poll. Now I will stop sharing my screen in a bit so I can see the results and show you the results. And what I want you to consider is that when we are talking about scaling aquaculture production, I want you to imagine a future where your project is either a unit with maybe producing 1,000 tons of fish or other bioeconomy products, or even if you are an European aquaculture group that produces 18,000 tons a year, or even a big world group that produces 500,000 tons, because these are scenarios, these cases exist. And do you think that this is sustainable? That's the question. We'll stop now, just to wait for you. I will give you a few minutes. I'm not sure if we need 5.
It's one question, and the link is in the chat. So
yes or no
just
question. Yeah.
Yes or no question. It's an easy one.
Okay, Mariana, just let me know when you think we have enough time. We have 7 participants so far.
We are more than 7, so just give us your opinion about this topic, if you really think sustainable aquaculture is possible or not.
In scale.
In scale.
Okay, we have 11. If anyone has any problem accessing the question, please let us know. But the links at least is working.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
My question is quite simple. What do you mean with scaling aquaculture?
So when you are a company that produces 1,000 tons, 18,000 tons, 500,000 tons, do you think these companies can be sustainable?
So you are talking about the one company that want to grow.
Yes. So in growing, in scaling the production, can we reach these numbers with sustainability in a sustainable manner? We will be discussing in next European guidelines. So we are going to further define what it means to be a sustainable aquaculture. But right now it's just like on the top of your heads, what do you think? Does anyone need any more time to answer? Maybe we can check the results now. Okay, so I'm going to put them maybe on the slides so it's easier for us to look at it together. And then just move on to the others. Okay. I'm going to go back to share my screen. Okay, so do you see the survey? You should see the results of the survey. And 87% of you said yes, and 30% said no. So what I would like to do now, just to check, does anyone who said no want to say why? You chose no? I'm assuming that's a no. Okay, so we'll move on. Just go back to sharing. Okay, so it's back on the presentation, right? And you are seeing the results. Can someone please just answer me if you are seeing the presentation again?
Yes, yes. With the results, yes.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the strategic guidelines for a more sustainable and competitive European Union. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with these guidelines. It's a very short document, but we'll go through it as fast as I can make it. So these documents, the objective of this document is to set up a coordinated European strategic approach to support the growth of the EU aquaculture sector while ensuring its economic, environmental, and social sustainability. Okay, so they have 4 objectives, and the first one is building resilience and competitiveness. The second one is participating in a green transition. The number 3, ensuring social acceptance and consumer information. And then finally, increasing knowledge and innovation. And what you will see is there are connection points, hopefully to your projects. There will also be connecting points to Alfonso's presentation. Some of the things that he talked about are very important for the sustainability guidelines and for the document that we'll see after this. So with the first objective, what they put on the table is that we need to improve access to space and water, and that means social planning, individual in each country. They want a better regulatory and administrative framework, and they suggest a one-stop system for licensing as a way to make this easier. They also mentioned the importance of animal health and public health, and in this objective, because this will appear on the other objective as well, this means control of infectious diseases. Then the climate change adaptation and mitigation, so they are very concerned about improving resiliences of the businesses, projects and businesses to the climate change scenarios. And then this is a focus, this is a connecting point to the other document as well. So they want producer and market organizations, so, and particularly for small and medium enterprises. So they want these companies to join efforts, and Alfonso mentioned this as well, to join efforts for a collective action. So it's easier for small actors if they join together to take actions. And then of course, the control objective, and control means traceability. And then the part of the diversification and adding value. So making products with added value, and also diversifying, not only in species that we produce, but also in the geographies that we produce. For the second objective, participating in green transition, they want a better environmental performances. So they have a goal of 0 water pollution, not water usage. And I think this is a very smart turn of phrase. And then sustainable feed systems, reduce the use of alien substances. I call them alien substances because they mention not only antibiotics, which can still be used on a very regulated manner, but also of other substances that might be used in the production. And of course, that the energy that the units need is from renewable resources. And here, when they talk about animal welfare, they are talking about, first of all, having standards for how to keep animal welfare in production, and then ensure that these standards are kept during farming, transport, and killing. On the part of communicating on European aquaculture, we have the integration in local communities. So it's very important that when you're operating in a community, you have social license to operate. And also that there is transparency and local synergies. And I think in this transparency part, it also correlates a lot with the traceability and a lot of the projects that you are involved in. So, and then of course, the part of data and monitoring, this is more turned to the agencies, the government agencies that do this monitoring. So they should also apply to aquaculture analysis, environmental indicators, and cover production beyond marine aquaculture. And finally, the final objective, increasing knowledge and innovation. So the development of innovation clusters for sustainable aquaculture, building full value chain in the European Union, effective dissemination of research and innovation from the research centers to the producers to the industry and the general public, and then facilitating access to European funds for research innovation in the aquaculture sector. And they also put a line about facilitating access to the smaller actors as well. Okay, so now we have the other activity. So this one is very easy. Mariana will put a link. You access this link and you just try to find words to describe or characterize sustainable aquaculture. I mentioned a lot of them in these final minutes. So just pick a few. They don't have to be from this presentation. They could be from your experience, like words that come to your head when you think about sustainability and sustainable aquaculture. And put as many as you want. And I'll stop sharing now. Again, if there's any trouble.
So I wrote in the chat the link. Please let us know if you are seeing a question that asks describe sustainable aquaculture in one word.
Yes.
Should we just put one word, or can we?
Yeah, you put
Be
one
creative.
word only per time. So when you will submit the first word and then you can submit another one.
Oh, okay, okay.
And it's important that you submit one word at a time because we are building a word map. So the more people put that word, the bigger that word gets on the map. And I'll be also asking for volunteers to discuss at least the biggest words and why they put them.
One word is really difficult.
Then put more. You are not limited to just one word. You just have to submit one at a time.
Yeah, that's the challenge. That's the challenge in one word. That's the thing. We can say many words, but we can't build a phrase. So
Yeah.
it's a bit.
If we get to the final activity, you'll get to put a phrase. No, but again, this is the word, and then afterwards we will have time if you want to discuss this word. If you want to give the full sentence of a word, or even if it's not one of the biggest words, if any of you wants to discuss this further, I mean, feel free. I mean, you can even do it now, or we'll wait for everyone to put. It's funny because I can see it in real time.
How many words do I have now?
I don't know how many words, but like we have a clear winner, I think.
Really?
Yes.
With these random words, you can have a clear winner.
There's clearly one that has been added more than once. So should I stop and share it, or is anyone still?
I can guess it.
I cannot enter.
You cannot enter.
I cannot enter anymore.
Oh,
yeah, me neither. I could.
I think there's a limit.
Yeah, 40 words.
A limit for words,
Incredible.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I only uploaded 2, so and then it didn't let me upload more.
Yeah, because we reached the limit of 40 words. Okay.
Okay.
I used
total.
I used 5, so.
Oh, you used one of mine, João.
It was faster.
Maybe if you can share in the chat, or Diana can reopen. I don't know.
No, Eric said he could guess, so I'm waiting for his guess.
Monitoring.
No, actually.
No.
Okay.
Damn it.
Sorry. Okay, let me. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm going to share it.
Now I'm curious.
Okay. Can you all see it?
Well.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a clear winner, I think, because I saw it go So welfare is the, I hope it wasn't one person just putting welfare 5 times. But welfare is definitely the word that was motivate. That's interesting, because one of the things that we'll see on the roadmap, because I mean, I'm assuming welfare was regarding fish welfare. Am I right? Does anyone want to elaborate on this?
Yes.
This is
Animal-
Animal welfare. Yeah.
I think it's linked with animal, yeah. Animal welfare.
And
Well, it can only be, no? It can only be welfare. I don't know. That's regarding with animal welfare, of course, I guess.
yes, from what we've seen on these European guidelines, yes, the focus is on animal welfare. But there is, in sustainability, there's also space for human welfare in a way, regarding food security and food availability, which we'll see on the next topic.
And nature welfare. You know, it has to have no impact, or you have to
Yes,
reduce your impact
it's
as
green, it's regenerative, it's eco-friendly. I like it.
yes.
Well-being.
Well,
Animal was a big word. Food also. So I think this is funny, because it's like welfare in food, in animal, in security. I actually like this. I like your participation in this. Then you have a circularity and circular responsibility also. Overconsumption, I think it's, so this would be to avoid overconsumption, right?
Yes.
Traceability, of course. Free. Okay, who put free? What do they mean by free?
I think that is separating words.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's a
so
word
if you
missing there.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yes, if you put food security, it was like food security, animal welfare. So this is just separating the words, you know.
It probably was me, because I used medication free. So
okay. No, okay. So that makes sense. Antibiotics free. So someone just put it all together, and that made it easier. Respect, freshness, expensive. Okay.
You have to write it in one word with no space in between.
Yes. Okay, tasty. Okay. Nice. Okay, thank you for participating in this. Does anyone want to say anything else before we jump?
Well, for me, it's quite surprising, but that's also maybe a bias because of our own background and our own work. When we think about sustainable aquaculture, think a lot about integrated aquaculture, think a lot about including seaweeds or microalgae, including other animals. And it's very interesting to see that, and there's much more companies here, that welfare is so important, which includes animal welfare, but yeah. So I think this is a very more animal-centered perspective on sustainable aquaculture, which is very interesting, I think.
Yes, I agree. And I think a people-centered as well. I think that's the part that sometimes we're missing in sustainability part, which okay, so I'm going to jump off, and hopefully you will see. Okay, so you're seeing the World Map activity, and now we are jumping to the World Economic Forum. So that's why I wanted to also use this as one of our base documents, because I think this roadmap, I mean, they put other pieces on this puzzle as well. And I think that's really interesting, because it's not only animal welfare, and it's not only environmental welfare, it's also about, I'm going to just presentation, because it's also the enabling parts and the responsibility of all the actors in this process, because it's a global challenge for all of us who are actors in this economy. So it means the businesses, the research institutes, the organizations, everyone has their role to play. And I think this roadmap makes it clear that it's not just the business job, like all of us have a role to play. So they focus on partnership for concrete action. So joining companies, regulators, certifiers, policymakers, investment, non-governmental organizations, and intergovernmental organizations. So everyone has to participate. And they present 4 pathways. And I don't know how much detail we can make on each one. Let me just check on the time. But it's responsible production, better livelihoods, healthy consumption, and this enabling environment, which I think is probably the most important part. Someone's laughing. I think I'll identify with this part. Okay, so very quickly, we have these 4 pathways. Who acts on each? So on the responsible production, we need the input from the companies, from the producers, from the post-harvest actors, and the innovators. On the healthy consumption, we need the retailers, the food service providers, the distributors, blue food advocates, and consumers. Then within this circle, we have better livelihoods, and this means the sustainable and HR departments of obviously the bigger companies, and then the unions and the employers as well. And across all of this enabling environments. So without this enabling environment, these actors cannot work for a more sustainable agriculture. And this means the policymakers, the scientific community, investors and donors, certifiers and regulators, the organizations, industry associations, and other relevant authorities. Of course, part of it might be different from country to country. So very quickly, the pathways. Responsible production, the challenge, of course, is the not have too much of a footprint on the surrounding ecosystems and over-reliance on wild-caught forage. And this particularly for those who produce carnivorous fish species that rely on fish meal and fish oil. And of course, the opportunities lie, and I think on the world map, at least some of you highlighted that as well, the part of the filter feeders like oysters and mussels that can remove excess nutrients from the water. They can also help to rebuild these ecosystems. And of course, this includes the ecosystems as well. And one thing that I like, the European guidelines also mentioned this. So they put the small scale actors as having a central role to play in responsible aquaculture production, because they produce about 2/3 of blue food for human consumption, the small scale actors. But one of the problems that they talked about in the enhancement part is that they, although they have the biggest impact, they don't always have the loudest voice. And that's why, I mean, the European guidelines also address this. That's why they say that they need to get organized and work together so they can have as big a voice as the big companies. But this roadmap highlights that a lot, and I liked it because of that. So solutions, of course, I'm going a bit fast. So at the end, if you want to dig deeper into some of these topics, you can just let me know. This is just to give you a brief overview. So solutions mean technical innovation, incentives, obviously, governance and regulation across value chains, innovation hubs, again, this concept. Industry improvement plans need to reach all actors, okay? And again, they have the idea of diversity, that we need a variety of species and systems for a climate resilient future. This is the concept that's borrowed from ecology, where if you have a diverse community, that community is more resilient, that ecosystem is more resilient. So, and also, of course, the part that we can restore the environment using lower trophic species. For the second pathway, better livelihoods. So here is the problem that small scale actors are not only employers, but they also rely on their business for their own livelihoods. So they have a much bigger risk than someone who is a CEO of a bigger company. And of course, that women are a lot of times left out of decision-making processes. And this, I think we can all see this, that young people, so the newer generations increasingly are engaged in less secure work. So work is getting less secure for the younger generations. And then, of course, the opportunity is that we can diversify our small-scale actors, species, and systems across the value chain, of course, so not only the producers. And we have an unrealized potential in young people, particularly because through innovation and entrepreneurship. And I like this idea that young people will not, it's almost like they want them to create their own future. So if this sector needs to be changed in a way, then these are the people that should enter the equation and be entrepreneurs and be innovative and have this unrealized potential. So solutions establish mechanisms to meaningfully include small-scale actors in decision-making. So again, not to focus not only on them being organized, but also of the structure, knowing that they are important. And this roadmap even says that the bigger companies need to call them as well and need to work with them as well. And all businesses need to interact more with their communities and, of course, encourage companies to invest in women and young people. And the one thing that we need to have a more targeted action is to have more information, more data on gender balance and employment across the value chain as well. So the healthy consumption pathways, here is the disparities across the disparities of everyone having access to nutritious and safe blue foods. Of course, that when you have guidelines saying that you need to add value, this can sometimes mean that people will not have access to your product. So people will not have access to this nutritious and safe blue food. So of course, this is influenced by production costs, distribution, logistics, trade and market dynamics. So it's something that we need to be careful with. We, not the businesses, but this is the regulating entities. And then, of course, the opportunities is that blue foods are already a vital part of food systems. So they already have their place in our lives, so to say. So this final sentence, if the aquaculture sector gets this right, it could play a key role in contributing and achieving healthy lives and sustainable diets globally. Of course, this is the World Economic Forum, so this is beyond European Union. So solutions, of course, is improved messaging, in particularly for low trophic species to get people to accept them more easily. And that advocates in the sector need to raise awareness among retailers, distributors, food service providers, and policymakers. We addressed this as well in Alfonso's presentation. And of course, the final one, and my favorite, so the enabling environment pathway. So of course, for development and innovation must be underpinned by this environment to allow them in the first stage. And then also because the government needs to have regulation, needs to have investments and enable partnerships, the government, and not only the government, but all the entities. And also this idea that we need to align public and private data. There's this whole, and you can see it in the opportunities, there's like this idea of transparency. And I think this is probably one of the biggest challenges for companies, to be transparent with their data. And of course, that rulemaking and implementation must be balanced. I think most of you have probably encountered this challenge, that it's tricky to find this balance, but regulation needs to be flexible enough for companies to grow, so to enhance this positive outcome, but it also needs to control the consequences on the environment, social networks, and local economies. So it's tricky, it's not easy, and I think all of us have at some point faced how hard sometimes this can be, because the system is clearly not optimized, at least from what I know in Portugal. And then, of course, opportunities for if we have robust and transparency data, this can encourage knowledge sharing. And we are, again, this idea that we are stronger together and all actors need to work together. And of course, this will also increase capacity building and proper guidances. And of course, improving the inclusion of small scale actors. So this transparency is one of the building blocks for these actors to be more a part of this decision-making process. And of course, blended finance and insurance can de-risk innovation products, particularly for these small actors, because they are more at risk. So we need to have mechanisms to protect them. Okay, so solutions, again, policies, partnerships, certification, and investments for sustainable growth of aquaculture to give value to a sustainable aquaculture. And now, okay, so if you want to discuss something, I will probably give you time, because from now we will do a series of activities. So there's no more documents. The boring part is over. And we're almost at the end of the time as well. So Mariana, maybe you can share this question. This question is a rank. So I've put 16 outcomes of this roadmap, and I'm asking you to rank them. So at the top, you will be able to move the bars. Okay, they are all in a list, and you'll be able to move them up and down. And I want you to put at the top what you think are the most important ones for your company. Okay, so I want you to be selfish. The most important for your company, and the less important company or project, and the less important for your business. Okay. And again, for your business, I want you to think about your business particularly.
Okay, link is in the chats. Let me know if you are not going to the site directly.
Yes, it is. It works.
Perfect. Thank you.
I can open.
And again, let us know if you have any questions, any doubts.
They are all they are all important.
That's why I said do it in a selfish
Yeah.
perspective. So there are some that you are probably already addressing, so maybe those can be less important. Is my suggestion, maybe. Because they are easier, maybe, or just on the impact. What you think will have more? I didn't want to say impact because I think impacts can be good or bad, and there's no way for us.
So the one that you click first is the one that you select first.
Oh, you can shift them.
We can
So
move
you
them.
should be able to drag and drop them.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
So you can just read and start to, as you read, you can rank them. That is when I do this exercise as well. And then just final adjustments at the end. But yeah, it's a roadmap. So they should all be important. It would be a bad sign if any of them weren't. Keep in mind that you'll have to submit your answers when you're done. I have 2 replies already. Some of you are fast. By the way, in the presentation, I will be putting links to these 2 documents if you want to read them further. Okay, so maybe I give you 1 more minute. Unless anyone else says that they need more time. We have 12 replies already.
Temos que colocar todos. Tem que ser, não é?
Se não os colocares todos, ele vai assumir que os que estão por baixo são os menos importantes.
É o que ele vai considerar que ficou na ordem, não é?
Exato.
Ok.
Sorry, Henrique was asking if he had to
sorry,
put them
yeah,
all in
sorry.
order. I will make a brief summary.
Sorry.
And I was telling him that if he does not put them in the order that he wants, he will assume that the order is the one that's currently at. Enrique, you're still ranking them.
Me?
You are still ranking them?
No.
Okay, so I can check the results. Is anyone still ranking the results? The question?
I am, but I'm finishing.
Okay, just let us know.
We can wait 1 minute, but then we really have to continue because then it's running out.
Time controls our life, huh?
Always.
Always.
We cannot stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that there's one missing here that for sustainability reports.
Okay.
Transparency for the aquaculture company. So you're saying here like on social reports and things, but you don't mention like the rest, you know.
Oh yeah, no,
like sustainability reports in globes, everything.
Yeah, but it's not a sustainability report. I think at least
that's what you mentioned. No, this one that was here was not a sustainability.
Oh, yeah. Let me yeah, because I couldn't put them all. And there were so many already. Like I had to do a selection.
Yeah, but the sustainability report incorporates all the pillars, and so the social including.
Does it? Does it always? I don't think they always do. Like sometimes the reports are very round numbers, so I'm a bit suspicious.
Well, you have all kind of sustainable reports, sustainability reports, you know. But if you take it seriously, and if you have an impact on that, and if you have a role on that, if you have 2 employees, maybe okay, the social part is still important, but okay. But if you have 20 or 30, I'm sure that it will be stated there.
Yeah, but sometimes transparency even means like how many tons have you produced? How many incidents did you have? Things like that. How much did you? I mean, the financial part, I think it's very. They have to be transparent already, but they are very. It's in the fine details that sometimes they are not. Sometimes it's very hard to. I mean, sometimes it's hard to get to know. Information about the activities of this company, and that means and it makes sense, right? Because that's what competitiveness is. That's why they are competitive, because they have that advantage, because there are things that they know that the other companies don't. But then we are not growing together. That only that company is growing, and I think that this is more relevant in big companies.
You know, if you give your eyes, you get blind.
Yeah. Okay, so are you seeing the results? So the Opinion X website, yes. That's what you're seeing, okay.
Can you make it a bit bigger, because it's a bit hard to see.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's very small caps.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so first one, and more than 50% of you put this one at first, so align incentives that include climate, biodiversity, and risk reduction. So align incentives, yes, I agree. Does anyone want to elaborate on this? because how I interpret it is that particularly for the small actors, they need incentives, they need help to
Yeah,
meet
you know,
the goal.
sometimes the the solutions are very technological. They are very expensive at the beginning, and until it's like
Alfonso's school, right?
yeah, and until it's available for everyone, you know. So if you get incentives that helps you to address that and to have access to those tools, of course it's always useful, you know, I would say.
How do you demand a small actor to have a traceability tool if he does not have the money to buy that tool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's not just demanding. Again, that's why I like this roadmap. That's why I like that they mentioned this enabling environment, because you cannot just demand this from the companies. You have to give them the environment to achieve this as well.
You know, I think that's also missing here, something like policymakers to give priority to this, you know, to really care about it, because it takes very long to deal with problems or with solutions for aquaculture in Portugal, for example. You know, it takes so long sometimes, and because it's sometimes it looks like it's not a priority, or they have no time, or they have not enough people working to give reply to the needs of the companies, you know.
Yes, I do actually.
I assume that is the sixth position.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
That's kind of, yeah, it's kind of.
I think it's implied in almost all of them.
Yeah, it's not really. I thought about it, the sixth one, but it's kind of that, yeah.
And then there are still the bureaucracies and all the blockages, at least that I really can feel on my activity. But I think
daily.
That's a responsibility also from the associations like BBA.
Yes, it's from all of us.
Yeah.
But that if you see the guidelines from the European Union, they mention that. Okay, so I just put what I did was like a very brief summary, but they do mention that they do give a lot of suggestions. I think some of them, for example, in Portugal, we are trying, but it's a bit like you said, like it's not just put the tools in place as well. You have to put people behind them.
Yeah, you have to get people working behind it to give answers and to answer the phone and to reply to emails and to, you know, it's the speed of the government and and of companies it's totally different. Like universities, you know, like working with scientists. The speed is always different. The energy, the move, the drive, you know, it's different.
Yes.
So we need to get to be more agile, you know, the system. You know.
Yes, no, definitely. And that's why, again, this is why this roadmap says it's a whole community effort. Like everyone needs to do an effort on this. It's not just
and they really have to want to do it, you know, to replace fisheries, wild fisheries, to be, you know, to manage wild fisheries. But if we want to give protein to people, fish protein, fish food, we have to really be sustainable using the ocean, you know, especially because usually it's always very, very close to the shore, to the coast, if the ones at sea. And I'm thinking about those now, but even inland. So it's a very big activity and difficult. It's a big challenge for everyone.
Yes.
You know? So, man, a lot of expenses, and so we have to really be aligned on all this. Yeah, everyone.
I agree, and they do too. They do too. If you read the guidelines, if you read the roadmap, they acknowledge that. They acknowledge that it's a big effort, and it won't be easy. I think that's underlined. They don't see it that clearly, but I think it's underlined if you read it. Like everyone needs to be on this boat, otherwise it will not work. I mean, this roadmap is pretty much what they try to say in a kind way, is that everyone's on board, but this doesn't work.
And I think that there should be a lot of money for science. Science really gives answers. Sometimes it takes time, of course, but it gives answers. You know, because you have to, for example, well, I'm sorry, but my name is Henrique, as you can see, and I'm from the Azores. I'm based in the Azores. We have sea expert, and we did a lot of research in aquaculture in the Azores. But to get some answers. We had to do our own project, to do our own research. We needed to get partners from the university. And when we were doing basic science, so, and that shouldn't be on the shoulders of companies. We should support, we should be engaged in scientific research, but like a small company like Sea Expert, we shouldn't be doing this,
No.
So each region that wants to develop aquaculture should have its own investigation center with people, with manpower, with
The innovation hubs.
Innovation hub that really develop aquaculture, local aquaculture. For example, for us to do it in Azores, it's a huge challenge. It's a really huge challenge what to do in Azores, because the bays are sheltered. It rains a lot. We have a lot of creeks putting water into the coast, and very strong weathers coming from anywhere. We have no platform shelf. So it's always a big challenge, and the species that we can grow there are not known by it's not sea breams or this the walls. I don't know. I can't remember the name.
So it goes into that idea that you also, and again, this is not. They both say that this is not the company's role. There is an effort that needs to be done in informing the communities about these products and making them more. They make them want to eat these products, these new products.
Sometimes the product has a market, but for you to produce, for you to reproduce, to produce a species, it takes a long time to develop the studies for this. Like, for example, it's known in science that you take, in average, 7 years to develop a culture. If it's in the shoulder of a company, or I'm a huge, massive company that has a lot of money that can invest on this for 7 years on people, resources, infrastructures, costs, or the government has, the capacity to, at the end, give almost the receipt to the company. So look, here is the deal. This is what you can grow here, and this is how you grow it. And for us,
yes.
And it would be easier for us, even if there's always a risk, and we are able to take the risk. That's what companies do. But like this, the risk is too high. We have nowhere to support on our investment.
I agree with you, Enrique, but I think because we're running a bit out of time, also my computer is running out of batteries.
Sorry, Eric. Sorry.
But it's a major challenge is always trying to find a match between the research that companies want and the research that universities can do. The meeting point between the both is often quite complicated to find. But I think we'll have to wrap up, Mariana. What do you? Yeah.
Yes, I know that Diana just has one less activity, and I really want to take this one. I will put the link here because it will give us a bit of information about the main important investments that you want to do if you have money for that. So this is a very good question also for us in the project to transmit and to report to the ones that have the money to fund this kind of thing. So Diana, sorry, may I share the link?
You're in charge. Yes, of course.
So I will share the link, and Diana, when I share it, please wrap up and give us your closing notes, and then we will close the session.
Oh, so they can take the survey after the session ends, maybe, and then you can share the results with them.
After we can share the results. So meanwhile, when you are closing the session, maybe the participants just can answer this last one.
Questions. Okay. The last 3 are easy, but the first one might be a bit. I mean, I think it's not tricky. It's just like you have to score according. I mean, I gave you. I say like you have 10 euros to invest. Okay, but you have 10 points to invest in those. So you just put like 5 in one, 3 in one, and another 2 in the next one. You just say how you will distribute that money if you had it. I mean, it's 10 euros, but you can think of it as like 10 million euros if you want. You have 10 points to give. And that's for wrapping up. I think I can say that I would just like to say thank you again for Marianne and Eric for inviting me to be here. I thank all of you for participating. I think it went really well. I think you did very well. I'm very happy. And like, I mean, I knew when I prepared this session to be a more interactive session, I knew that you guys would be on top of this subject. And clearly you are. All the things you said, they are mentioned in these guidelines and in this roadmap. And of course, the biggest thing is always like everyone wants to do this, or this does not work. Because there's a role for everyone to play in having a more sustainable aquaculture. So yes, you are right to say that it's not just the businesses. It's even not just research institutes. Organizations like the BA have a place in this as well. The government definitely has a big role to play. Investors have also a big role to play. Bigger companies need to step up as well. And all of that, it's hard and it's challenging. And I think, I mean, sometimes it's easy not to believe in sustainability because of that. And I'm guilty of that as well, because it's hard to see, because it's an effort that relies on everyone. It's hard to see everyone doing this effort. And if one piece of the puzzle is not there, then the puzzle is not complete. And yeah, that's how I would wrap up this session.
Thank you, Diana, so much for challenging all the projects here to think about these topics. And as a take-home message, I would say from this first session that we should keep in mind our goal since the beginning in terms of traceability and also in terms of sustainability. And indeed, the value chain collaboration and with all the stakeholders involved to reach these goals are very important. I would like to thank you also for this contribution. These words are keywords very important for us to keep in mind when you talk about sustainable in aquaculture. It's because sustainability is a broad concept, as Diana explained. So here we have keywords that could be very relevant to see how the funds can be conducted, for what they should be addressed.